Hype for Hytale, it was resold to the original dev. I have a bunch of skepticism about Hytale, but I want it to do well. I don't even want to say I'm hyped for Hytale because I think the hype is literally killing that game. I think the hype to that game is like cancer. I actually feel like if we keep hyping this game the way the community has been doing, it's going to fail 100 trillion%. Because here's the thing, Hytale was in development hell for like 10 years. The creator got it back and was like, this game is like unplayable, but I'm gonna release it anyways. It's gonna be bad on launch. And everybody's literally saying it's going to kill Minecraft. That's how good it's gonna be. You're just setting yourself up for one of the most disappointing disaster releases of all time. Like, I've seen this so many times before. Cyberpunk 2027 or 2077. Everybody was like, this will be the greatest video game ever created. And it was so disappointing on launch that, like, even though they fixed it, that game will forever have that stain. Fallout 76, another great example. I was so hyped for it when I first saw that trailer. The trailer was insane. The hype was out of this world. And that game on launch was an unmitigated disaster, dude. It was horrible. And it never really recovered from that. Even though they fixed some stuff, like I never played it. I never bought it. It was that bad that, like, I never even bought it. So I feel like we're in a similar state with Hytale right now. Like, there's a reason the game never came out after like a decade. Clearly it was in some sort of development hell. It was having some issues. Clearly it wasn't fun or releasable. And now they're just releasing it. And I strongly feel that if everybody keeps hyping it up and doesn't give it the time it needs to blossom, then yeah, it's gonna be DOA, dead on arrival. I've just seen this happen too many times where people hype a game so much to just this completely unrealistic standard. Like, people saying it's gonna kill Minecraft. You're delusional. You're Delulu, girl. You're absolutely Delulu. Minecraft has a 15-year head start. It was a genre-defining game. They have a second movie in production. They've done 2 spin-off games. There's no way. There's not a chance in hell that Hytale can even put a scratch in Minecraft's numbers. There's just no way. So if that's what you're telling yourself, like in the lead up to Hytale being released, then you're just setting yourself up for like an immense amount of disappointment. And then when everybody's inevitably disappointed, then they're just gonna lose interest, and before the game even gets a chance to be good, everybody will have moved on to the next thing. That's my fear with Hytale. If we can hold back the hype and give this game like a year to just do its own thing and try to find its audience and its own community, then maybe it could be like Vintage Story, and it could have like a nice little niche of its own within the voxel game genre. I could totally see a world where Hytale has a cool community that, you know, serves a different player base than Minecraft, and kind of like Vintage Story. But if we keep saying that it's literally the second coming of Christ, then I think the game's gonna totally flop. That is my I bet Hytale's gonna end up like Cube World. Exactly, dude. I think that's why I feel so strongly about this, is because this is literally just Cube World. Do you guys remember Cube World? You're probably too young. There was a game that was basically just Hytale, and it was called Cube World, and people hyped it so much. And I believe what happened was, like, an alpha for the game came out. It was really good, and then years went by. The developer went silent, and then a couple years later, they finally released it, and it was super disappointing, and everybody hated it, and it basically just insta-died. Like, it was never heard from again. And that is my biggest fear for Hytale. I think we're barreling towards that inevitability unless people can kind of get their expectations under control. Because you can't expect a game to take down the biggest game in the world. It's like, that's just such an unrealistic expectation to have for a game on launch. The other thing that's really bothering me, I have to say something about this. This is really bothering me. So there's been this whole panic right now over this new hire at Mojang, Katie Scott. Apparently, this is a person who worked at EA and Ubisoft on some games like FIFA and Assassin's Creed that have a lot of microtransactions. And so the community has sort of just jumped the gun and assumed that they're adding microtransactions to Java, which, guys, that's never gonna happen. I mean, I'll eat my words if I'm wrong on this, but this is not gonna happen. They're not gonna add microtransactions to Java. They're just not gonna do it. That's what Bedrock exists for, is so that they don't have to add microtransactions to Java. And I think people who think that's gonna happen, here's the reason why I don't think that will ever happen. Just think about it. Hear me out for 1 second, okay? They just unobfuscated the Java code, making it easier than ever for modders to mod Java Edition. And the code being unobfuscated basically means that Mojang doesn't have the ability to make something unmoddable in Java Edition. So what I'm saying is, the second they add microtransactions to Java Edition, the next day, someone makes a mod that removes the microtransactions from Java Edition. Everybody in the world playing Java downloads that mod, and then there's no microtransactions in Java. And so what is the net result for Mojang? They've just created the worst PR nightmare of their lives, because now everybody hates them for adding microtransactions to Java. And what did they get out of it? Nothing. Because everybody just removed the microtransactions with a mod. So they wouldn't do that. They're not that silly, dude. I don't think Mojang is that naive to where they're just like, no, bro, it's totally worth adding microtransactions to this game, even though everybody will hate us for years and will never ever live down this bad PR, and people will just remove them anyways. Like, they're not gonna do that. I swear to God, they're not gonna do that. And if I'm wrong, I will literally delete my flat world. No, I won't, but you get the point. Minecraft community continually doom posting since 2018 is getting old. It is getting old, dude. I'm old. They've been doom posting not since 2018. This started the second Microsoft bought the game. And I was one of them. I was one of the people being like, dude, they just ruined my favorite game. Microsoft's gonna ruin my favorite game. And here I am, like 10 years later, and it's fine. Like, I honestly think we're in a better place now with the game's development than we have been in years. I think peak doomer for me was during the Firefly fiasco. I genuinely looked at that and I was like, I cannot understand what Mojang is doing. Like, I literally looked at the Firefly fiasco with the birch forest that they promised in the wild update, and how long it took them to do caves and cliffs after COVID and all that. And I was like, I don't understand the moves they're making, and I'm worried about where the game's headed. And then it feels like they kind of just hurt us, and they got a new PR team, and they started doing the drop system. And I feel like if you look at what we got in like 1.19, which again, that was back when we got one update a year, versus what we got in 2025 through all the different drops, dude, it's night and day. We got so much more content with the drop system this year. I mean, there's downsides to the drop system, don't get me wrong. I hate replacing all my mods like every 2 months. It's awful. I'm like perpetually 2 versions behind. Like literally right now, I'm still playing on 1.21.7 instead of playing on 1.21.11 or whatever the frick we're on. The numbering is also really confusing. But put aside the cons of the numbering and having to download mods more often, and I think the drop system is like a huge W. The whole community was like, we want more content. We want more updates. Stop taking so long on updates. And they were like, bet. And then they did it. So I don't know. I think my peak doomer days of Minecraft are over. The doomerism and reducing Mojang as a whole to just Microsoft and their greed is genuinely insane to me. Like, do these people not know how anything works? No, literally, it does feel like baby's first capitalism to me. It feels like people just like discovering companies are bad and they do bad things for the first time. And they're like, I'm 11 and this is so deep. Like, oh my God, this is so deep. And it's like, yeah, welcome to the world, dude. I don't know. I've been known this. Like, anyways, I kind of got distracted. What I was trying to say when I brought up the Katie Scott panic. So again, just for if you're just tuning in, we were talking about how Mojang just hired a new person called Katie Scott. She worked at Ubisoft and EA on games like Assassin's Creed and FIFA that have a lot of microtransactions. And so there was an enormous panic in the game of people, for some reason, thinking that that means they're adding microtransactions to Java, even though we have literally no evidence for that, and all signs point to the opposite. And so what's really bothering me about this conversation that I just want to point out, because I haven't seen a single person mention this. I have gone into comment sections and I see this same take over and over again. They're going to add microtransactions to Java. Minecraft is ruined, which is why Hytale is going to be the biggest game in the world. Guys, Hytale is launching with microtransactions. You either like them or you don't. Are you for microtransactions or against them? This is driving me literally crazy. I feel like a crazy person. Hytale has microtransactions already. They have. You can go. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the Hytale website right now. I'm going to the Hytale website. And look, I already bought the game. I already pre-purchased it. I'm excited for it. Whatever. I'm not trying to judge them for having microtransactions. I'm judging the people who are saying microtransactions are going to kill Minecraft, which is why Hytale will be the new biggest game in the world. If that's your take, then why don't you care that right now on the Hytale website, there are 3 versions of the game you can buy? There's the standard edition, the supporter edition, and the curse breaker. And what does curse breaker come with? The standard edition is $20. This is like $70. You get Pop Star set and more to come. What are we talking about? I just had to point this out. This has been driving me literally crazy. I cannot understand why nobody cares about microtransactions in Hytale, but they really, really care about it in Java. Why? This is driving me so crazy. You either like microtransactions or you don't care. Just be consistent. Anyways, I'm pretty hopeful on the state of Minecraft. I think the game's going in a good direction. If my predictions come true, I think we're probably not going to get the end update this year in 2026, but probably next year in 2027. I think in 2026, they're probably going to keep going with the drops. So 2025 was our first full year of drops, where we got, what was it? We got 4 different drops in 2025. I think 2026 will be more of the same. I think we're going to get 4 different drops in 2026. But yeah, those are all my rants. I hope Hytale does well. I want to be clear about that. I think competition is good for Minecraft for sure. It'll light a fire under Mojang's butts if the game starts doing really well, for sure. But I just think we should be nice to Katie Scott and give this person the benefit of the doubt, because they haven't even started yet, and it's kind of ridiculous to just attack someone when they literally posted one thing on LinkedIn. Also, I don't think they're adding microtransactions to Java. I think that's very unlikely. Also, I think Hytale will probably flop unless people can get their expectations in check and start being more normal about it. It's not going to instantly take over the biggest game in the world. That's a ridiculous expectation to have. And yeah, I think that's and also, if you hate microtransactions in Java Edition, you should probably hate them in Hytale too. Those are all my takes. That is the summary. That is the cliff notes on all of my takes. All right, so I do have a little bit of an update for you guys. I ended up tweeting, or whatever it's called on Blue Sky. I don't know what they call it, but I blue skied at Jeb, and I said, lately there's a huge panic in the community surrounding a new hire on LinkedIn. The speculation is that Mojang wants to add microtransactions into Java Edition, something I personally find very unlikely. Are you able to speak on this so I can calm my community down? I kind of wanted him to maybe confirm that that's not going to happen. Now, Jeb, as usual on Blue Sky, he's super vague and never really confirms anything. So he basically says, my policy here on Blue Sky is not to comment on future development plans, even for the sake of calming down community speculation. But then he does say, I'm looking forward to working with Katie, who, just like me, got into the industry for the love of making games. And to me, I sort of read that like an endorsement of Katie Scott. You know, and I've met Jeb. I kind of trust the guy. So I don't know. Maybe I am being the naive one here just because I've met like Jeb and Agnes, and I trust where, you know, them not to ruin the game. But I don't know. Like, the other part of this for me is just like, if you've ever worked any job in your life, you know that you probably had to do a bunch of stuff you didn't want to do. It's kind of the nature of like having a job. It's why I became a YouTuber in the first place. It's because I hate doing things I don't want to do. Like, I just feel like I kind of take him at face value there that like, yeah, probably Katie Scott does love gaming and tried to get into the gaming industry for the love of making games. And I don't think anyone goes to work at like EA or Ubisoft and is like, I'm so excited to fill games with microtransactions. Like, it's what they told her to do probably. And Mojang is one of the best gaming companies in the whole industry. Like, they famously don't do crunch time. They treat their employees very well. So for someone to work up the ladder of, you know, having to grind out their soul at EA and Ubisoft and then get what's presumably their dream job at Minecraft, only for them to just get like immediately attacked by the entire internet when they haven't even started their job yet. I don't know. I just feel like I have a bunch of empathy for this person. Like, that kind of probably sucks. Like, you already had to work your way up in the gaming industry. You finally got your dream job where you don't have to add microtransactions to things anymore, you know, or if you do, it's for Bedrock Edition, which already has them. I don't know. I got into this conversation with someone, and they were like, unironically, about the whole Hytale versus Minecraft microtransaction thing. They were like, well, it's better for Hytale to have microtransactions in it from the start than for Java to add them after all this time. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would transparency matter in this situation at all? Like, you either like microtransactions or you don't. Like, if anything, the opposite is true, to where if Minecraft ever does add microtransactions to Java, at least we will have had 15 plus years without them. Like, I really don't understand the argument that like it's somehow better for someone to be transparent about microtransactions instead of adding them after a long time. Like, I really don't understand that argument at all. It's like a bad business practice is a bad business practice. So anyways, I just wanted to add the Jeb tweet to this discussion. Again, hope Hytale does well, and I hope Katie Scott ends up being a great hire. And if not, I suck, and I'll eat my words. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys.